From the Dallas On Air studios of beautiful Dallas, Texas, this is Fulfillment here on DallasOnAir.com. And now here's your hosts, the Vegabomber, PJ Dunn, and the film samurai, Carlos Salinas.
All right, welcome, Fanboy Nation, Films of Fan. I got to the right of me, the film samurai. Say hello to him.
What's up, everybody? Ready to talk movies?
Yes, we're ready to get into this. So, if this is the first time here watching Fulfillment, this is the show that's all about films. We love to talk about films. We like to collect articles from films. We'll stay late after films to hear the director and the lead actors talk about films. So if that's you, you have now found your show. So make sure you check us out every second and fourth Sunday of the month, and we'll keep you abreast of all of that. So, Carlos, this week, as we were getting ready to look at the box office economics and our normal segments, the main part of the show today is we're going to talk about the 2020 movies that you must see, which was probably hard to just pick three.
Yeah,
what do you think?
You're right. There's so much good stuff that sounds good. I don't know if it'll actually be good, but yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of interesting sounding movies out there that, definitely we'll check out. First weekend opening. Yep.
That is perfect. Mm-hmm. So we're going to look forward in that way today, and then we're going to look back just one last time to reflect on the 2019 movies that actually were kind of hidden gems, right?
Flew under the radar.
They were
good, but nobody saw them.
Didn't have the support of advertising. Right. Didn't have that one kid that has 50 million subscribers on it talking about just that film.
Couldn't get into a theater because Disney had all the theaters booked.
Disney had all of it between Marvel and Star Wars and everything else, right? And Frozen.
Damn you, mouse.
The mouse again.
Yeah, they got my money anyway. Screw 'em.
That's right. And that voice that you hear from behind the camera is K-Zack. So he's crew as well, ladies and gentlemen. So let me go ahead and jump into that box office economics. Let me tell you a little bit about what everybody seems to be spending their money on as it relates currently, and then I'll get these guys' reactions to it. So looking at the box office economics, there's my wiki. We'll start and go from number 5 to number 1. The number 5 movie that people are spending their money on, believe it or not, Star Wars, The Rise of Good Intentions, right, at $8.29 million, edged out by number 4. And number 4, believe it or not, Mr. Samurai over there, Jumanji has this kind of holding power.
Jumanji still. And that wasn't even as good as the first one.
Yeah. And this is $9.7 million, enough to make Star Wars down to level 5 on this list. And that's crazy.
It is crazy.
And we just looked at this list just last week. If you watched 2 weeks ago, Star Wars was number 1. And now from just 2 weeks from ago, already down to this. And let's get to number 3 then. Number 3, I love Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if I'd love this. Doolittle at $21.84 million.
Talking animals.
Talking animals.
Yeah.
Oh, and now number 2 and number 1, which actually I wish this was switched because the better movie's not on top. But number 2 is 1917, and it brought in $21.98 million to solidify that second spot.
I'm glad people are seeing that.
That's right. Sam Mendes did a great job with that film. And unfortunately, the number 1 film in America. This is the film everybody's spending their hard-earned ducats on. Right, this is the one you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're going to go see Bad Boys 3 because of Will Smith and the fat Martin Lawrence, because it's $62.50 million is what that dragged in to take the number 1 spot. Wow. What do you guys think of this?
Bad Boys for Life. Go ahead, Zach.
No, go ahead.
I'm not. I passed on Bad Boys for Life. I have no interest in it. I can't even remember seeing the first Bad Boys. I don't think I saw Bad Boys 2. I know Michael Bay directed them.
Yeah.
He did not direct this one. From what I've seen on Twitter, though, people seem to think it's great or fun or whatever. A lot of explosions and action and funny humor and lines and stuff. But I just have no interest in it. I'm just kind of, Will Smith is kind of to me now.
Yeah.
I didn't even see Gemini Man.
Right. K-Zack, what do you think of this?
I don't call any real surprises here because, again, the problem with Star Wars is that we've got so much saturation in the market. No one's going back to see this film twice except for like the die-hard hardcore fans. Jumanji's going to be your family film. That's the one that everyone's going to go see. It's not. I'm glad that 1917 is staying strong where it is. that says a lot to the box office. But the Michael Bay Explode Balloon movie is what everyone is going to go see because they've already seen Star Wars, they've already seen Jumanji, they've already seen everything that's out there. Now you're going to go get the explosions across the screen, and
it's familiar, it's nostalgia.
Exactly. It's reliable screen box office guys doing basically stuff that blows up. So yeah, it's not a surprise here. But the other thing is that I hope that we get a little bit more money for the Oscar bait films, because I know we've got that coming up here in a couple weeks.
Yes.
I know Landmark Theaters, I think, is doing a special where $5 and you can go see a whole for each movie you can go see a bunch of the nominees.
Yes.
So if you missed them the first time, it's a good opportunity to go check those out.
AMC does kind of a marathon too.
It does.
Don't they?
They do
all
it
day long. They'll show all the Best Picture nominees.
You just bring a pillow because your butt's gonna be tired for real. But yeah, they do that. I used to go to this out at the AMC out in Stonebriar Mall. Used to do an all day long thing where they were showing all the nominees. I think it lasted for a couple of weeks.
The only one I haven't seen of the Best Picture nominees is Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to see it. I don't.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound appealing to me.
Yeah, nothing in it sounds appealing, but it's hard to go wrong with Taika Waititi. The dude is just hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's what I've heard, is that you don't think it's a movie you're going to like, and you wind up liking it. I don't know. So
Yeah, it might be. Hopefully it'll show up on streaming soon. I'll catch it eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Mr. Waititi there is known for his comedic breaks. I didn't like Thor Ragnarok, so that's why it probably wouldn't be a big deal.
What We Do in the Shadows is hilarious. I love
But that sounds like something I need to see. What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah.
You haven't seen the movie yet?
Not that one, no.
Have you seen the TV series?
No, I have not.
Oh,
Watch the movie and then watch the TV.
But What We Do in the Shadows is literally the best thing I've ever seen on television.
Okay.
I'm not lying.
I might argue with you on Yellowstone on that one, but I get you.
All right. We got other stuff to get to.
That's right. So with that, let's go to coming soon. That's our next segment here, and these are the films that are coming out here within the next couple of weeks. There it is, the wiki. So I'm going to take a look at these, and then we can react or not react. It's up to you. So the number one, I shouldn't say number one, but the first film is Gretel and Hansel. This is considered a fantasy horror thriller. So it's about a long time ago in a distant fairy tale countryside. A young girl leads her little brother into a dark wood and desperate search for food and work, only to stumble upon a nexus of evil. Mm-hmm. That's what we get here for that. So this is a film going to star Sophia Lillis, Alice Krieg, Jessica DeGo, and Charles Babalola. So people I haven't necessarily heard of necessarily. It's directed by Oz Perkins.
Alice Krieg is a great go-to if you need a creepy one.
Creepy one? Yeah.
She was in one of those Star Trek movies, right?
Yeah, she's the board queen.
Okay.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also about to hit the theaters and maybe change those box office numbers a little bit is a movie called The Rhythm Section. Now, this one's rated R. It's 109 minutes. It's action, drama, mystery, thriller. So it's got 4 descriptors to it. It says simply, very simply, in the synopsis, a woman seeks revenge against those who orchestrated a plane crash that killed her family. So, yeah. There you go.
Blake Lively. I like her.
Yes, it is. Jude Law, Sterling K. Brown, who was in Black Panther. He played Killmonger's dad, and Daniel Mays. And it's directed by Reed Morano. So Rhythm Section coming out here pretty quickly.
Generic action flick.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like. Also coming out in the next couple of weeks, The Assistant. This movie is only 85 minutes. Maybe that's a good thing. It's a drama, and it's simply this. It's a searing look at a day in the life of an assistant to a powerful executive. It's Jane, who follows her daily routine. She grows increasingly aware of the insidious abuse that threatens every aspect of her position by the boss. So this is the HR concerned movie, I guess.
Wasn't this the Devil Wears Prada?
Kitty Green. The director is Kitty Green. And it stars Julia Garner, Matthew McFadden, Mackenzie Lee, and like Christine Forsyth.
Yeah, she's in the Ozark, the TV series.
Yeah.
Really good.
The Assistant. Also coming out The Traitor. So we're going into the movies. There's The Assistant. Now there's The Traitor. This is 145 minutes. This is a biography crime drama. This is a mafioso movie. All right. So this is the real life of Tommaso Buscetta, the so-called boss of the two worlds, the first mafia informant in Sicily in the 1980s. Ooh. So it's a biopic on this gentleman. So it's the director is Marco Bellaccio. And then it stars a bunch of hard names to pronounce, but I'll try to stumble through them anyway. Luigi Locascio, Fausto Russo Alessi, Maria Fernanda Candido, and then Pier Francesco Favino are the stars in this film. And then lastly, coming out in the next 2 weeks, look, we got some films here. This one's called Incitement. This one's a thriller. It's 123 minutes. It details the year leading to the assassination of Israel's Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. This was in 1922 to 1995, from the point of view of the assassin. So the director is Yaron Zilberman. It stars some more difficult names that I have to pronounce on some level here. It's Yehuda Nari Halavi, Amida. This is horrible. Amida. No, I need to take a break. Anat Ravaninsky, Yoav Levi are some of the folks that are in this film. It's called Incitement. Wow, 4 films.
So, in other words, basically, this is the dumping ground for all the stuff they couldn't get into Oscar contention this year.
Exactly.
Correct. With the exception of Gretel and Hansel, that was just a movie to try to scare your socks off.
So, in other words, basically, they had a release for this one. They didn't know where to put it. So, this is the week that they get. This is the week that gets it.
That's right, because Star Wars taking up everything, and all those other movies that are in, like, taking up 15 theaters inside the Metroplex or the Movieplex there. So those are your 4 that are coming out here soon. Maybe one of the 2 of those are interesting. Would you go see any of those, Carlos?
I might see Gretel and Hansel.
Yeah.
Because it looks, I saw the trailer. Visually, it looks pretty decent. Okay. I don't know how good the movie is, but at least it'll be neat to watch.
Yeah.
Well, the trailer sounds interesting. I might give that a look just because I like mafia pictures.
So do I. You're right there with me. That's the one I would say out of all these for sure. And I might be surprised. One of these may be a surprise sleeper hit for next year. It could be the rhythm section, but not sure. I just want to know, how do you, I guess, that's an interesting premise. It's a woman who's saying, wait a minute, y'all killed my family by making the plane go down. That's your ass. I mean, usually it's like you shot somebody, you hit them with your car, you poisoned them. Here it's, no, you wanted my family so bad, you waited until they got on the airplane.
Probably making political statements and stuff in their context.
I want to find out what the rhythm section means. I thought this was going to be another drum line, or what was that other one? That's what I thought of. So,
Step up 12.
They did say there's a great car chase that's one of those long takes, and it just like goes on and on and on, and it's a one-take shot of the car chase, which sounds interesting.
Okay. Well, as we get more details, we'll figure this one out. We'll let you know. All right. With that, let's go to a popular segment before we get to the big segment. And the segment now is the Just Seen It. And this is where we tell you about the movies or TV series or maybe even books, as it were, that we've read in the last time since we talked to you all. And as usual, we always start with the film Samurai.
All right. Let's do it. The movie, I've just seen it, and is The Gentleman. This is a Guy Ritchie movie. It is his trademark British crime, gangster, tough guy stuff, which I love. I love his old, like, Rock and Rolla, Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I love those movies. I love the language. I love the the interaction between these guys that are trying to, just bully each other and pull out guns, and there's drugs involved and crime and betting and all this stuff. Every vice you can imagine, it's there. So the cast in this is pretty amazing. It's Matthew McConaughey, and he's playing an American. It takes place in Britain. Charlie Hunnam, he plays Ray, his right-hand man. Hugh Grant steals this movie. He plays Fletcher. He's a private investigator. He's trying to blackmail Matthew McConaughey's character, he's a drug, he manufactures cannabis, marijuana, and it's a $1 million business for him, and so he's got to deal with this guy. Also, he has to deal with this guy, a Chinese gangster named Dry Eye, played by Henry Golding. Colin Farrell's in it. He's fantastic.
Did you say Dry Eye?
His name is Dry Eye.
His name is
That's
Dry Eye.
his nickname, Dry Eye. He's actually, I can't remember what his real name in the movie is, but he goes by Dry Eye anyway. Colin Farrell plays. Everybody calls him Coach. He's like a boxing trainer. You know, he has these group of boys, and these boys call themselves the Toddlers. They're like a gang of guys that go around fighting, you know, and then they make videos of it, and then they put it online. It's called fight porn.
Oh, that's childish.
Yeah.
But that's why they're called the Toddlers.
And they're all wearing these elaborate track suits, you know. And Colin Farrell's introduction to this movie is so good. He's got this plaid track suit. He's got a hat on. He's got these big square glasses, and he's in a fish and chip shop. And then these gang of kids come in. They just start trying to order ahead of him. He tells them, you know, step back, wait your turn.
Yeah.
Kid pulls a knife on him. He just slaps it right out of his hand. And then he basically takes on just about all 5 of them. But, you know, they all stand down after a while. He says, boys, you know, he gives them a little lesson. Michelle Dockery plays Matthew McConaughey's wife. And, man, she's
all right.
Yeah, gazelle, like beautiful. Eddie Marsan, one of the great British character actors, plays Big Dave. He's the editor of a British tabloid magazine. He wants to ruin Matthew McConaughey's character because Matthew McConaughey kind of dissed him in a high-class party one time.
Oh, boy.
And then Jeremy Strong plays another American who wants to buy his business. So there's all this interaction going on, all this backstabbing, double crossing. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of humor. There's some great needle drops, of course. Guy Ritchie his use of music and songs in his films is always great. The opening credits, they use a song called Cumberland Gap. It's amazing. I love that opening credit scene. But the way it's told, it's a storytelling kind of way of doing the film. Is that Hugh Grant is laying it out for Ray, McConaughey's right-hand man. And he's very cinematic, you know, the way he's, this is going to be, you know, celluloid. This is not going to be digital. And then they cut to a, you know, old-fashioned projector running the film through the, you know, little cuts like this. And then he's smash cut, you know, and then the story unfolds. And it's very well done. Edited. It's got the, you know, trademark Guy Ritchie foot chase scene. You know, He almost has that in just about every one of his films. And so there's a lot of, you know, class envy. McConaughey character wants to retire, and gentrification, wants to settle down, have children. There's, you know, heroin drug addicts and users, and it's just like everything's in this film, and it's all well done, and from beginning to end, you know, it was just like I'm just sitting there with a big smile on my face just watching this movie.
So it's a return to form for Guy Ritchie.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the Guy Ritchie that we want to see.
Yes. So Aladdin, forget about Aladdin, and you know, some people didn't like King Arthur. I thought it was fine. It was watchable to me, but yeah, this is his go-to. This is his strong suit.
Whip smart gangsters,
yes,
active dialogue, great music, great fight scenes. That's the Guy Ritchie film that we want to see.
Yes, absolutely. And I loved it so much I went and saw it again yesterday. I saw it Wednesday at a press screening, and then I went and saw it again yesterday. So yeah, I'll probably go see it. Man, I don't know if I'll go see it again in theater, but yeah, I'll definitely buy the Blu-ray or 4K or whatever and watch it again at home.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good.
Kazak, how about you?
All right. I've got a TV show for you to check out this week. It's a new one on Comedy Central. It is Nora from Queens, starring Awkwafina. It is a perfectly whip-smart sitcom. Awkwafina kind of plays an amplified version of herself. She plays tremendous slacker from Queens who lives with her father and grandmother, who are absolutely picture perfect. Lori Tan Chin from Orange Is the New Black plays her grandmother. She's absolutely just pitch perfect on every beat and every interaction with Awkwafina. Her dad, played by B.D. Wong, you know, just the a classic deadpan everything, just unimpressed by anything, as BD Wong is wont to do. But yeah, it's tremendous slacker comedy. Every beat is just perfect. It's written well. If you're going for the racial stereotype, it goes all the way, and it's perfect.
Cool.
It really is a very funny piece. The first episode, the pilot, is hilariously awkward. In about 22 minutes, you see her going through hell. From everything from getting moved out of her house in Queens to living on the streets to getting a life as a cam girl. And God, all of it is just astoundingly hilarious. And you feel so bad for her, but you definitely want to cheer for her. So Nora from Queens and on Comedy Central, do check that one out.
Nice.
Super. I'm with that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't make it out to the silver screen as well. I had an opportunity to go with the Film Samurai to see The Gentleman, but wasn't able to work it out that day. So what I ended up watching was some Netflix, and something that I'd been wanting to watch for a while was the Netflix original film called Barry, which is the film about Barack Obama, his college years in the 80s when he was going to Columbia. So this is before Michelle Obama. And so watching this film, I thought, okay, if this is supposed to be a biography, then I want to see some really good stuff in this. And unfortunately, I have to say, this film was extremely disappointing. The director is Vikram Gandhi is his name. And this film stars Devin Terrell, who does look a lot like Obama, and he sounds like him. He gets the cadence down. He gets the gait down in terms of how Obama walks. He had that nailed perfectly. And then probably an actress we've seen before in The Witch, Anya Taylor-Joy. That girl there, she was putting on a clinic, and then she's so good to look at as well. I mean, she's just
huge eyes.
If they were ever going to do a biopic about Bjork, she should play Bjork. This girl looks so much like her. Like, there were so many angles of her face when she turned. I'm like, that looks like a younger Bjork right there. But anyway, she would totally be able to do that. It also stars Jason Mitchell, who played Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton, and that guy nails it. So it kills me because the casting for this is great. So basically, this film is trying to show you a college-age Obama who's trying to fit in because he's got a white mom from Hawaii and then a Nigerian father who he lives sometimes a little bit in Indonesia, a little bit in Honolulu, and then, of course, now here he is in New York trying to go to school. And so it's good in that it shows how he's such a thinker. Like, he thinks. Every time people say something, he'll ask a question. Rather than laugh along with them, he'll ask a question about, well, when you said that, you meant. So you get the sense that he's really just trying to discover, what does it even mean to be a person? Because I've got so many different identities. Now, the problem here is the way it's handled here. I don't think this gentleman understands America very well, who shot this. The dialogue is so stilted in places where he's trying to make it feel like it's in the 80s. And so there's Obama's best friend in here, or Barry's best friend here, is an Indian guy. And just some of the stuff he's saying with Barack, like, Whitey won't let us do this and stuff like that. I'm like, you sound like you trying a little bit too hard, But I didn't get that dialogue. And then it was just like there was a perfect moment in there where there were going to be some intellectual conversations. They show them in college, and they're about to argue this thing, and it ends up on slavery. And then all it is this one frat boy just goes, why does everything have to be about slavery? And I'm like, go. And it cuts.
Oh, God.
They never have that discussion on it. And I'm like, what? And then later on, he sees this guy again. And when he's drunk, and that guy's drunk, and he's like, yeah, you're a real a-hole, you really are, and I'm like, okay, y'all gonna have part 2 of this discussion? They don't, they cut it.
Jeez.
So it was like, and then the way the movie ended sucked bad, because the movie was just like, so here's this guy who's biracial, which I get because I'm biracial and I understand a lot about what this film should be showing me, and I'm saying, you're not delivering this well. It seems like all Obama does in this film is smoke cigarettes and just thinks, and then he just wonders about the race situation and why people believe what they believe, because he's not, necessarily from mainland, right? And so he's really getting a download on, first of all, college culture, but then again, the climate at that time in the 80s, which would project at that time that there aren't that many problems. It's great. It's the 80s. We got bands like Devo and stuff. Well, there were still things happening, but just not to the level they are now. So,
Devo will solve everything. What are you talking about?
That's right. Grab that whip in the wrong way. But but I was sitting there going, "What the hell is this movie?"
I wonder who wrote this script. Was it based on a book?
It was by Adam Manbach. Or Mensbach. He's the one who wrote the script. But I'll tell you, it's the most unfulfilling movie because Obama actually would be a very interesting character.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's the smart, quiet guy who says funny things at appropriate times. Mm-hmm. And here they had moments where they were doing that. And then it was just when they wanted to try to get into the political conversation and they don't try to get into the race conversation, it just sounded like somebody who was like, I'm trying to show you I'm with you, bro. I'm going to write this script to let you know I'm with you, black folks. I get it. Mm-hmm. This is probably what y'all say about stuff like white people, and it's like...
And I would have voted for you twice.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is we needed to get you your own anger translator.
Yes.
And what it is it's going to be Keegan-Michael Key looking into the camera for an hour and a half going exactly like this.
So I would just tell you guys, if you are a fan of biographies, and if you happen to be a fan of Obama, you probably will be disappointed in this one because but I understand there's another one that's going to be made later, and I think hopefully that one will be better than this one. But this one, I would just tell you, don't waste your time. You'll be so unsatisfied at the end of it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, and that's terrible because he actually would be pretty interesting. That sound encompasses all of it. Thank you. Many thank yous.
And there we are. You were looking for an excuse to use it.
That's exactly right, and that worked perfectly. And so now, let's get to the main focus of the show today. We teased it early on. We're talking about the top 3 movies that you must see in 2020. Now, let me clarify this. We're talking about from what we understand. Obviously, we haven't seen the movie. So 9 times out of 10, we're probably looking at it from the perspective of who are the actors, the cast involved, who are the directors, and who are the screenwriters on this, and then is the concept good? So we could be wrong, and we could be doing a movie about the 5 movies that sucked in 2020. It could be some of these. But for right now, with the best that we know, we're going to give you the top 20, the top 3 2020 movies that we think are must-sees, and we'll start with The Film Samurai.
Okay, my 3 most anticipated films of 2020. I'll go 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 is a movie called Antlers. This is a Scott Cooper film. It's going to be a horror mystery produced by Guillermo del Toro. And so it's going to be dark and mysterious and creepy, and it's going to have a creature in it. And yeah, it has a creature in it from the trailer I saw. Of course, they don't give anything away, but it sounds like a Native American Wendigo type mythical creature. Takes place in like Oregon, I think. So there's a lot of woods and lakes and nature, that kind of thing. Stars Kerry Russell and Jesse Plemons from Breaking Bad.
A.K.A. Meth Damon.
Yeah. Damon's brother. So, yeah, I like Scott Cooper. He directed Hostiles and Out of the Furnace, 2 great films starring Christian Bale. So I just have a like of this guy. I think his films are really good. My number 2 is Army of the Dead. This is
Army of the Dead?
Zack Snyder film.
Is this about Palpatine again? Is this about Palpatine again?
It's going to be a Netflix original. It's in post-production, but I can't imagine it won't come out. It won't not come out this year. So I imagine it's probably going to be either late summer or autumn, fall. The only actor I know offhand is Batista is going to be in it. And the premise sounds like...
Drax?
It's post-apocalyptic. It's there's zombies outbreak. It's Las Vegas. There's a big heist. So these guys are going to go get this gold or money or something, and of course they got to deal with the zombies. So there's going to be a lot of guns, a lot of splatter, a lot of gore, a lot of women in the cast. I just looked at the cast and was like, gosh, like 10 women in it.
I'm a little scared. That sounds like Dead Snow.
Well, they're not army. They're more like mercenary type. You know, they're not full blown army, or
So it's Dead Snow without the Nazis.
I guess.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm rolling my eyes at Zack Snyder. Now I'm hearing a plot and I'm going, okay.
Okay. So visually, it's going to be amazing, I'm sure. It's going to be a lot of cool visuals. So, yeah, I'm into it. I don't know if it's going to be in, hopefully it will be released in the theaters, but I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where they only show it in New York and Los Angeles and then everywhere else is Netflix. Anyway, my number one, of course, how can it not be, is Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Sounds like an international espionage. It's got an interesting cast. John David Washington. And,
Denzel Washington's son.
Rob Pattinson. I think Elizabeth Debicki is in it.
And she is.
July 17, 2020 is when it comes out, 2 days after my birthday. So it's going to be a great birthday present for me.
Nice.
Hopefully I get to see it early. Yeah, I can't wait to see it. It already, from what footage I've seen, and I'm going to try to avoid as much as I can about this film. I just want to go in, not knowing, because like when I saw Inception, I went in not knowing one thing about it, and when I came out of that movie, man, I was stunned. I was
Inception,
like in shell shock of like, wow, what did I just watch? This is amazing. So Tenet sounds something like that. So
When I went to go see Rise of Skywalker: Best Intentions, they played the first 10 minutes of the film.
You got to see that.
And on IMAX, it's really, really intense. It is really something to see.
So Christopher Nolan, you know it's going to be an event, whatever the film is, and so it's got to be my most anticipated film. So I'm going to see it in the biggest theater possible.
Why not?
That's it.
Why not? K-Zach.
All right, sir.
3 movies that you think we must see in 2020.
All right. Well, let me go to my folder here. Okay. All right. So I can't believe that I'm going to say this. I really, really can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth, but I'm actually anticipating a Keanu Reeves film. I hate to say it, but Bill and Ted Face the Music. Oh. We've been waiting for this one for so long.
We have?
I have. I personally have been waiting for a Bill and Ted sequel for years. They knocked it out of the park twice. I enjoyed them both, and this one, I love Alex Winter. That's a big draw for me.
Okay.
Like I said, Bill and Ted Face the Music. The first one was all about teenagers. The second one was all about getting older. The third one was about them being 40-year-old guys with no ambition, no life. I can relate to it.
But this movie has their daughters in it.
So live action Beavis and Butthead.
A lot of it's going to be about their daughters, I bet.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to be the female versions of Bill and Ted.
Yeah. Realizing.
Anything else we're going to do the female version of this year? We already had to put Gretel before Hansel in the movie earlier, so
Yeah. One that I am
jokes, folks, just jokes. Go ahead.
One that I am anticipating, Halloween Kills, the second in the new run of Halloween movies. The first one is really, really good. The guy from I can't remember his name. The guy from Tropic Thunder and
you killed it.
Foot Fist Way. Yeah.
What's that? Foot Fist Way?
Yeah.
You're talking about the lead actor in that one?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I know you're talking about. That's the guy from Eastbound and Down.
Yeah.
Wow. See, now I'm right there with him with amnesia. We got a local amnesia going on here, folks.
Yeah.
Here.
But anyway, the last sequel was really, really effective. It was a great visit back to Jamie Lee Curtis's character, tremendous breakdowns, great tribute to what John Carpenter was doing, and I'm looking forward to getting this sequel in there with another edition of what's coming up with Michael Myers, just because the last one was brutal and this one's going to be more fun.
Mm-hmm.
The third one.
You're thinking of Danny McBride, by the
way. Yeah,
Danny
McBride. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron Carlos. I appreciate the assist. Finally, we've got a new Edgar Wright film coming. Last Night in Soho.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting a British psychological horror in the tradition of the classic 70s films. Mm-hmm. Anytime Edgar Wright's attached to something, I'm definitely interested, and this definitely shows promise by just the description.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I've got 3 as well. 3
Oh,
movies.
by the way, Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be in that one.
Is she? And then I'm watching that film because I'm impressed by her already. So there you have that. So I also have 3 films, fans out there, that I think you should definitely put on your list as something that you must see in 2020. I'm going to start out with bottom to go from 3, 2, then to 1, just like Carlos. Quiet Place 2. So the first one was excellent. I really enjoyed it. I thought the way they used silence, like to the point where it would drive you nuts. Like in the theater, it was so quiet watching Quiet Place that you could actually hear the people who were shifting, gasping, doing anything else in the movie because it was that
Eating
quiet.
popcorn.
Yeah, and you could hear the popcorn. But the thing was, you were drawn in. The first hour of this film, you were like, ah. And usually when films like this, once you see the creature, it's kind of over for you. You're like, eh. But here, they were able to hold that suspense in a very good way. It's starring. Well, it's actually directed by John Krasinski and his wife, Emily Blunt's in this film. And you'll have a lot of the same folks coming back, except for there'll be some new folks. Jaimin Hansu, who was just born a little too early to play Black Panther, but would have been a great one. But you remember him in, what was it? When we're talking about in Marvel, he was playing in Guardians of the Galaxy. I forgot his name in Guardians of the Galaxy. It was a small role. But anyway, that's Jaimin Hansu. You might know him from Blood Diamond. If you don't know him from Blood Diamond, playing the opposite of in Gladiator as well. Also, Cillian Murphy is in this film as well. That's Scarface.
It's Cillian
Scarecrow.
Murphy. No,
Cillian.
just kidding. It's Cillian.
Cillian, Killian. I don't give a damn. You ain't paying my bills, so I don't care how. But anyway, so Cillian Murphy, who you know as Scarecrow in Batman, if you watch that, and of course Noah Jupe and Millicent Simmons were the child actors in that film, and they will be back as well. So. Quiet Place 2 is considered a mystery thriller, and it comes out March 20th, so it'll be coming out here pretty soon, and so I can't wait to see that one. 2, I have Tenet as well, so it's the Christopher Nolan film. I do care about this group because it has a wonderful director in Christopher Nolan, but it also has a wonderful cast of characters. The Film Samurai told you some of them. There's a few extra ones of note as well. You have Michael Caine in it. You also have Kenneth Branagh in it, and, well, Himesh Patel, who everybody only knows from that movie Yesterday, because he was trying to be a wannabe karaoke singer guy, right? But I want to see it. The trailers are exactly everything I would expect to see. It sold me on this movie. I have to see this movie, so Tenet is at number 2. And the only movie I want to see more than those 2 films is a film called Those Who Wish Me Dead. This is taken from a book based by Michael Kortia. And the director is Taylor Sheridan, who I love. You guys remember him. He's the one that wrote Sicario. He's the one that wrote Hell or High Water. He's the one that wrote and directed most of Yellowstone, which is now going into its 3rd series. If you haven't seen season 2, it's phenomenal. But this movie stars Angelina Jolie, Nicholas Hoult, who you remember is playing Beast in the X-Men films. The Punisher's in this, John Barenthal. Tyler Perry, for some reason, is in this film, and then Aidan Gillen. So those are the cast of characters. The synopsis to this film, I think it's great. There's a 15-year-old boy who watches these 2 men savagely kill someone way out in this Montana preserve, and it's about can he get away, and can he tell the people where he's at without giving up his position where the other guys find him first. So you've got this long hunt. It's called a American neo-Western thriller, is what it's called.
Wow,
so
awesome.
if you've ever seen any of Taylor Sheridan's work, you know this dude can write and apparently can direct as well. So that would be the movie I would say is my top one of the movies you must see in 2020.
Nice.
Now, with that, we're also going to reflect back for just a second, and we're going to talk about the films that were hidden gems of 2019. So let me describe that real fast. When I say hidden gems, I'm saying that these films did not have all the marketing, the advertising, all of the social media to it, but they got made, and the integrity of the film you see right through maybe the fact that it didn't have the big production budget and advertising budget. So these films, when you watch them, you go, you know what, that was pretty darn good. In fact, that was better than some of the blockbusters I've seen. Mm-hmm. That is a hidden gem. So as is our culture, Film Samurai will tell us his 3 first.
Okay, here are my top 3 hidden gems. Number 3, I went with Tolkien. This is a Dom Karukowski film. Stars Nicholas Hoult and Lily Collins. And, of course, from the title, you know it's about J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is his young life. This is before he even thought of creating Lord of the Rings, but it shows like his college years, the friends he made. There was a group of 4 guys. One was an artist, one was a writer, one they was a musician. I forget what the other one was, but it shows his relationship with the woman who would be his wife. It's a very beautiful film. I love the way it was done. It has some really moving scenes in it. The imagination, the brilliance of this J.R.R. Tolkien, who, he was a linguist and he created whole languages. And it shows how this one professor who took an interest in him and allowed him into his class only because he did have that talent, or I don't know what you want to call it, but this guy was brilliant. So
Like
absolutely, Tolkien was just one of those movies that did go under the radar. Probably hardly anybody saw it, but I found it very, very beautiful and well done. My number 2 is Luc Besson's movie Anna. This is an action spy thriller. It came out, stars Sasha Luce, who I believe is actually a model, high fashion model. Luke Evans is in it. Cillian Murphy's in this one too, and of course the great Helen Mirren, who's great as a KGB officer who kind of is the handler of Anna, the character. Anna, it's kind of like Luc Besson's La Femme Nikita, where they take this waif off the street. She's been into drugs and crime and stuff, and they recruit her to be a KGB agent, but she's going to pose as a model because she's tall, skinny, beautiful, and of course they train her in fighting, and there's a great scene where she goes into a restaurant, man, just lays all these dudes out. And the fight choreography in this film is incredible. Of course, Luke Evans, he's a KGB officer who's helping her along, and then Cillian Murphy plays CIA officer. And that was I love that film. I've watched it a couple of times already. My number 1 hidden gem was Togo. This is I think you can only find this on Disney Plus. Unfortunately, it was not released in theaters, but it's one of those original Disney Plus films that turned out amazing. William Dafoe stars, and Julianne Nicholson. Julianne Nicholson, I've seen her in a couple of other things. I couldn't remember off the top of my head what I've seen her in before, but she plays William Dafoe's wife. This takes place in 1925 in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, I believe. So there was an outbreak of childhood disease, and they had to get a serum from 674 miles away from one town to another. And of course, they did these relays of sled dogs. And Defoe, his character had this dog. He was a very troublesome dog as it was growing up. It always wanted to be the lead dog, even though it was smaller and wasn't as strong as the other dogs. But he just had that heart, man. And just like this dog was made to lead. And so he finally allows the dog to do it. And then it goes on this journey. And the unfortunate thing about this film is that Togo, he did 260 miles of this 674, almost basically 1/3 of it. But the dog that got all the notoriety and the press and everything was Balto, because he was the last dog who delivered to the town that needed it. So of course the press was there waiting for the dog, and Balto is the star, and they've got a Balto statue in Central Park. But Togo, man, this dog did most of the heavy lifting. It was awesome, and it's very well done. The music, the scenery, the snow, these landscapes are amazing. Of course, it's a little over top in some of the distress scenes where they're trying to cross ice, and all of a sudden the ice is cracking and breaking. To me, it was not realistic, but it grabbed you anyway. Like, oh my God, get across the ice! You got to make it, And this one scene where they're about to go off the edge of a cliff. It was, and of course William Dafoe, man, that guy is just amazing just to watch and listen to his voice. He's just an amazing actor. So it was good all around. I was very highly surprised by this film.
I'll get to go then. All right, yeah. Okay, Zach, how about you?
All right. Three films that kind of passed under the radar, which you should have caught. Number one, I'm going to go with Ready or Not. Ready or Not is a really effective horror film. It's a really great popcorn horror film, which you don't get these days. It's got great kills, terrific humor. The actress in it is phenomenal. She kind of looks like Margot Robbie, but she's
it's a low budget Margot Robbie.
Yeah, and that's okay because she's perfect in the film.
Yeah,
Andy McDowell coming back, it really is a great 90-minute ride. You're not anticipating a sequel, but you could always get it. Great humor. Terrific beats in the comedy, terrific kills. And like I said, if you like horror, this is one to definitely check out. Number two that went under the radar for kind of all the wrong reasons. Peter Jackson's "They Shall Not Grow Old." Just because of what a cinematic achievement this thing is, taking so much archival footage and bringing it to life in front of you for a couple of hours, and you're getting to relive the sacrifices that these guys went through. You're getting to relive that tremendous combat and just what an amazing accomplishment the thing is. And like I said, the film itself, it's cinematically as an achievement is really just beautiful. Bringing all this great footage, and it shows what responsible filmmaking should do.
Yes,
which is make you care and bring, like I said, these stories to life. And this is no exception. What Peter Jackson did with this as World War I, as a World War I buff, and of course, is the son of or the grandson of someone who fought in these wars. It's
absolutely.
a big deal. So. That was one that definitely needs to be checked out and definitely needs to be seen if at all possible. One that escaped, the one that came under the radar, which to me was surprising, Motherless Brooklyn. This got no press, nothing.
Yeah.
Edward Norton, I think, fought for like 20 years to get this film made. Edward Norton plays a private detective who goes undercover as a journalist to find out who killed his mentor. It's a movie that took place in the 80s that he advanced back into the 50s. But I mean, you've got Alec Baldwin as a terrible mogul. You've got Bruce Willis as his mentor, Willem Dafoe. But the thing is not so much the film, which, like I said, I like film noir, so it's a great visit back to that. But you've got Edward Norton giving a really terrific performance as basically a PI with Tourette's syndrome. So at any minute he could blow his cover.
Wow!
And just some great kind of wonderful tense moments in the dialogue. But yeah, it's not so much the movie as it is Edward Norton's performance in the movie that really bears worth seeing. But yeah, this got no press, and I mean, you look at that cast and you're going, really? So yeah,
unfortunately, it did get press, but it was bad press because it was a fire on the set one day. A building burned down, and somebody died in that
oh,
fire.
Wow!
Is that why it got buried?
They got sued. Yeah.
Oh wow!
But they tried it. Basically, I'm sure they try to keep it as quiet as possible. But
yeah,
it was unfortunate that happened. But that was the film. Yeah.
But yeah, nothing on this film. So yeah, it's a curiosity that for Edward Norton's performance is worth seeing because just about anything the guy does is worth seeing.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's just one of those actors.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I as I get ready to talk about the three hidden gems, for me, a really classic hidden gem also was that movie Sing Street from 2 years ago. It got nothing in terms of it didn't even get nominated for soundtrack, and that movie has a musical type sense to it, although it's not really. And it was amazing to me because all the songs were original in that movie, and that soundtrack was awesome. So Sing Street was probably very charming movie about these kids from these Irish kids who wanted to escape and go to England, kind of like how people here think that if they move to California they can become a star or whatever, and they love American pop culture and they're trying to copy all the bands and that sort of thing.
Like type
Sing Street was a wonderful movie, but that was definitely one of those. So, but moving to now, last year, 2019, I have Knives Out down at number 3 because this isn't a movie that I really thought I was going to go see at first until I heard so much good news about it. I mean, I hate Ryan Johnson, so as they call him, Ruin Johnson. But it was a gem. I have to say it was a gem of the film because you have an all-star cast, and everybody's playing these parts, and to see Chris Evans play a bad guy for a change instead of a good guy, which is kind of cool. But that film really did made me think, okay, well, even though I can totally detest Rian Johnson for what he did with Last Jedi, he can still make something that still can amuse me and actually be funny.
Yeah,
and in fact,
he does detective films very well. You go back and watch Brick. You go back and watch Looper. That's his.
I've seen Looper.
Like we were talking about Guy Ritchie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Guy Ritchie for sure, definitely. And I saw Looper, and I'm usually not a big time jump, movie guy because that's always so weird with me. I thought Looper was okay.
Was Emily Blunt in Looper? She was the mother of the
She
kid.
may have been. I'm not sure. All I remember was what's his face? We don't even hear about anymore.
Oh, yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We don't hear anything about him anymore. And then of course Bruce Willis, and he was supposed to be playing a younger version.
Terrible makeup job that they did.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy
like
on
Willis.
that.
Yeah,
but Knives Out, I thought was definitely something that probably until it got picked up from the scuttlebutt of fanboys talking about it, didn't have maybe the clear cut go see this like say a Jumanji. So to me, I thought, okay, Knives Out, that was kind of a gem for me in this one. And then I think Ad Astra, I have that at 2. Ad Astra again. Here's Brad Pitt knocking it out of the park. I don't even know if I think he got nominated once, maybe twice in this year's Oscar nomination, but I really felt like that movie got kind of slept on a little bit.
I thought he did a better job acting-wise in that than he did in
Once Upon a Time. I would totally agree to that. And I thought that movie is a movie you could watch more than once when you take a look at Ad Astra and the way it was shot. And you would think, oh, it's another space film and all that. But it had enough storytelling to it that was unique. The cinematography you can always count on. But I just thought Brad Pitt and his dad being, his name slipped my mind. Boy,
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, I thought that relationship.
There was a really amazing scene in it where he's talking. He's trying to send a message to his dad on this planet that he's on, and he's reading a script, but he stops the script and then just talks as himself.
Yeah,
Dad, I really want to see you, man. That just right in the feels, man. Oh,
it's you right in the feels.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I would say probably the number one film that's definitely a hidden gem. When you think of the fact of Taron Egerton, the guy who had been playing Muggsy or Bugsy or whatever in all of those other films, you don't think that he could play something as serious with this much range, yet he does. Now, most people probably wrote this off and thought, well, we already saw Bohemian Rhapsody. Maybe they weren't big Elton John fans. But if you were to take the Elton John element out of it and just look at how he portrays this particular character, it is spot on, note for note. He did his own singing in there as well, and he was told that, don't worry, you don't have to try to sound like Elton John, just sing it the way you would. So this guy can sing, he can dance, he can act, and they trusted him to play Elton John.
Speaking of hidden gems, watch him sometime in this movie called Eddie the Eagle, based on a real character, guy who was high jumper, skiing high jumper in the Olympics. Great movie.
So I felt like if you watch this film, even if you're not an Elton John fan, even if you're not into musicals per se, this film actually kind of would surprise you there, and is a film that you could watch several times just for the feels. And like you were talking about the feels in this, I mean, I hit the feels almost every time it was him looking at his younger self. Because I think that's the most incredible thing ever in film, is to be able to look at a younger version of yourself and have a conversation with you.
And also him and his father. That's where he goes back and sees his father and his new family and the way he is all like charming with his sons, and he never treated him like that when he was of that age,
Yeah.
And just that disappointment on his face and that hurt, that pain. Yeah, he just with an expression, you saw it. That guy, he's a good actor.
Yeah, that guy. If not for anything, if you want to understand or see great range of acting, because a lot of times what we see is we see one guy playing one style the whole movie, right? And John Wick, Matrix, right? Even to that case, Denzel Washington, in The Equalizers, he's not playing a whole lot of range. And you could argue that you don't need it, but in this case, when you are following up and you're trying to play someone, it's hard not to mimic. Because that's what you think you do, is you get in and try to mimic them, but that's the cheapest form of flattery, right? But when you become them, even though you don't look like them, talk like them, or act like them at all, that transformation is incredible, and that's why I love great actors. And I think today a lot of actors get headway.
You definitely pulled it off.
For just being in a film just because it has a lot of pew 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 in it, and it's like that person's a great acting. Why was that great acting? Just because it's in a film you like already? That doesn't make it great acting.
Yeah.
Great acting means you strip all the other stuff away, and all you see is a person playing this other person, but you don't see who that person is.
Great acting is when you can make the audience care about your character.
That's right.
I don't care about John Wick. If he gets shot a million times, I don't care.
Yeah.
But Taron Egerton, that movie, I cared about his feelings and about what he was going through.
Yes.
So absolutely, I agree with you.
When he was taken advantage of by his former lover, who then wanted to manage his career, and the way that guy was like, "Go ahead, kill yourself with drugs. I'll still make a ton of money off of the residuals." Wow, what a human being! Wow. So, and I think the other time I saw something like this was Denzel Washington when he was playing Malcolm X. Because Denzel Washington does not look anything like Malcolm X. Malcolm X is my skin color with red hair, with those glasses, and that's not Denzel Washington. But after Denzel Washington starts talking after a while, you don't see Denzel. You do see a Malcolm X, a young, gritty, going for it all Malcolm X. And so to say that, to put Taron Egerton up there with Denzel's performance there says a lot. So again, it's a hidden gem in terms of acting for sure. There may be some people who went and saw it, but for the most part, if you want to see a great piece, all ranges of motion, that makes sense, that's not overdone, there you go. That's when you want to look at. So with that, I think, guys, we need to move to our next segment, which would be a little bit talk about our next episode and what we're going to discuss, and then, of course, our shout-out. So next episode is going to happen February 9th, which happens to be Oscar night. So we're going to have our show in the morning. There will be a special presentation of the Fanboy Oscars, which we're going to start shooting today. So you'll hear a lot about that from the Film Samurai, myself, and Kazak will be letting you know. And then let's move to the shout out. So who do you want to shout out to?
Shout out to all my Twitter friends, my son Matt and my daughter Nicole, Joelle and Stella out in California, and Mad Mel.
Love it.
Did some great comments in our last video. Love Mad Mel.
Yes, she did. She was awesome.
A ton of fans like her.
Absolutely. Kazak, who we shouting out to?
Shout outs to Cole Houston, Eddie Medina, the Rant Court Pit Live, and Figment's the Unexplained Mystery podcast. And we'll be doing a special presentation of Isle of Toys this week. We'll be doing that later on today. We were unable to bring you Isle of Toys last week because of some technical difficulties. We apologize for that, but we're going to go ahead and make that up this week with another episode. And of course, we'll be bringing back the Rant Court Pit here in a couple weeks to talk more Star Wars. And of course, you can check out all your Talking Ready to Me Sunday stuff right here on DallasOnAir.com every first, second, third, and fourth Sunday with us, Fulfillment and the Vortex of Doom, and of course, Rantcore, Figments, and Isles.
All right. So I'm going to give my shout outs to, again, I want to thanks Mad Mel again, because we're having dialogue out there on YouTube. It's just fun. We really want to connect with you guys. So if you're watching this right now, don't just watch this and go, put some information in there. We'd love to interact with you. We can do that now. We don't have like 50 million subscribers, so this is a great time where we can actually build up some of that context. And we'd love to hear from you anyways, just to see what you think. So Troy Ross was sharing some of what we did last week, and that was awesome. Michael Paul is a viewer who continues to watch and comment, and so is Daniel Meza and Mark G. And I also want to thank the guys over at Rant Court Pit as well. So Eddie Medina, Cole Houston, Stephanie Crane, who still is watching live. That's great. She gets up on Sundays to watch this. And then up there in Illinois, Scott Laney and Sandra. So we definitely want to give you guys a shout out on that. So with that, I think we are on our way out. So we're going to kick the music and Film Samurai. What do you want to tell them?
Sayonara. See you on Film Twitter.
On Film Twitter. We'll see you.
This is DallasOnAir.com.